Alright, so this is me just recording the piece for Amber. Uh, and I was going to just record it, and then I thought this might be a little bit quicker because I couldn't figure out how to record. So, Amber, this is strictly for you, but other people might see it. Fair warning. Alright, so this is Barbie's back in business. And I'm just going to, I'll read all the parts, I guess. That way we kind of have an idea of how long it is. Okay. Good, good. Barbie danced out in Valhalla down by Serpentine, left by the airport. The lounge, not the actual airport. That was the fancy place where you'd go with friends to have a laugh and some drinks. Barbie was always the headliner of Valhalla. She'd come out and go, "Hey boys," all coy-like and sweet. Her thing was the drums. Barbie could play the drums, and that was something, 'cause the closest thing to cool any of the other girls could do was juggle. And Marisol, Barbie's nemesis, wasn't all that much of a juggler. Marisol used to say, of course she's a good drummer, all she does all night is bang. Marisol was mad because Barbie was the headliner and because Marisol's boyfriend Cristiano liked Barbie better than his girl. "Why don't you learn to drum, baby? Then maybe I'll start staying home nights." We should have known Barbie was in trouble when they found Cristiano in the back parking lot stabbed 84 times, which some said was the number of women he slept with while he was with Marisol. We should have known Barbie was going to be next, but she was the type of chick you just didn't worry about. Something about her just seemed eternal. Her last night working at Valhalla, she did 2 sets back to back, and both of them got standing O's, like she was Fanny Bryce or something, but with Tommy Lee's arms. She was supposed to head out the next day, go to Los Angeles so she could be a starlet and get cast in CBS pilots called College Girls with a U and a Z, or "That's Love!" exclamation point. As a parting shot, which she shouldn't have done, but she called out to Marisol on stage. "Gee, Marisol," she said. Marisol was sitting at the bar in the back of the house picking at her fingernails with the rusty knife she'd been carrying around since they found Cristiano. "Gee, Marisol," Barbie said. "Guess you can be the headliner now that the club's gonna close." It wasn't like Barbie to be so nasty, but she'd had enough of Marisol over the years, and I guess she wanted to have the last word. But nobody got the last word over Marisol. The next day I called the number Bobby gave me in L.A. to reach her. Once I knew her plane would have landed and she'd be at her new place, this little apartment complex next to an Arby's. Except there wasn't any answer. I figured maybe Barbie was already out partying, but I had a bad feeling. 2 years later, around Christmas time, Marisol was working the main stage and the place was dead. Ever since Barbie had left, Valhalla had been attracting the wrong kind of crowd, and all the good people had moved on to Folsom and Bataan and pretty much anywhere but here. I got a job working the door, but the owner told me short of a miraculous uptick in business and clientele, the doors weren't going to be open past New Year's. When the time came for Marisol to go on, the lights wouldn't come up the way they were supposed to. The purple hit the blue in a weird sort of way, and it all came out looking green like the bottom of the ocean when you're puking it into drinking all night off the docks by the airport. The actual airport, not the lounge. I thought I saw people swimming in those lights, and it was kinda, "Jimmy, stop jerking yourself off and hit the next switch." Marisol was yelling from backstage. But when Jimmy hit the switch, the music came up all slow, like it was trudging through silt to get back to dry land. "Jimmy!" That was the gold lights came on. Barbie's lights. She was at her drum set. Her skin was all gray, and her eyes were shut tight like she'd been sleeping in a Tupperware container. Her hands were holding her drumsticks, and her drumsticks were hanging right over the drums, ready to drop like an axe. Marisol came out and looked at her like she was looking at the sun going down the wrong way. Then Barbie said, "Go ahead, Marisol." Ba ba da ba ba da ba. Dance. And Barbie starts banging. You remember me, don't you, Marisol? I can bang all night. And as soon as she starts banging, Marisol starts dancing. But when she gets down to the part where you see the tassels, she's got another top on. And when she pulls off the bottoms, another pair of bottoms. Marisol removes those, and at first you think it's part of the act, and then Barbie starts banging faster and faster, eyes closed, lips parted, like her arms aren't even part of her anymore, like they've been pulled from some demon drummer straight out of hell. Marisol keeps taking it off, and the whole thing you ain't seeing any more skin. The crowd's getting restless. They think this is part of the act because most of them don't remember Barbie. And they're shouting at Marisol, "What are you doing, Marisol? The bitch is crazy," Marisol yells. "She can't be here. She can't be here." And suddenly water starts pouring out of Marisol's mouth. Thick, dark, salty ocean water pours out over the stage. Jimmy starts screaming from the booth, but the water stops. And that's when it happens. Marisol goes to pull off her top, and this time, it comes off. And her skin comes off with it. She doesn't move. She doesn't scream. She doesn't even tremble. The crowd is staring at her. This don't look like no act they've seen before. Marisol goes to grab her bottom half to see if she can pull it up over her first when it comes off in her hands. The skin. The whole bottom of her. All came off with it. She stands for a second, now she's trembling. Then with a scream she falls. But when she falls into nothing. Just 2 tassels and all the balls she was going to juggle. Barbie stood up, put her drumsticks down, walked over to me and said, "Sorry I never returned your call. Merry Christmas." Then she put on a dark pair of sunglasses and walked out the back door. And this time, I'm thinking she made it to L.A.